Hello, I'm Deetri Epps, creator and executive producer of Footsteps to Home, a multimedia platform to help folks connect to their roots, their family, and who is home. Where is home to them? So today I'm here with author Bridgette J. Bess, who is on her second book. And we're excited today to talk a little bit about part two. If you missed part one, go back and check it out, or you can just listen to part two and then go back to part one. But today I'm excited to bring my friend and author, Bridgette Janelle Bess, the author of Journey Home. And we're going to talk a little bit about a trip that Bridgette and I took to Ghana in West Africa, which is part of my footsteps to home. And possibly, Bridgette, you can talk about that for yourself too. So, in take a moment, first of all, introduce yourself, Bridgette, as the author and the writing that you do, and then we'll talk a little bit about Ghana and our footsteps together to Ghana.
Okay. So again, my name is Bridgette Bess. I a longtime friend of Dietrich, lover of all things, many things, including God, of course. But in this capacity, I am an author. It's so weird to hear someone say that. I'm like, who, me? So my first book was called Daddy's Little Girl. And then I recently I am publishing my next book called Journey Home, which you can see here. So it just kind of tells a story about a little girl on her way back to her home, as she's going back to a family reunion, and she learns all the things in reference to her family story and their legacy. So I'm excited about people being able to hear this story, and to have it from a different perspective, than normal. So I'm grateful.
Well, we're looking for, and where can folks find Journey Home?
So Journey Home can be purchased at Amazon. It will be live as of July the 24th. You can purchase your books from there. It'll be available live on July 24th. So
Yeah,
thank you so much for your
wonderful.
support.
Absolutely, absolutely. So today we're going to talk a little bit about a journey that Bridgette and I took. As many of you know, if you subscribe or if you've heard about Footsteps to Home YouTube channel, you know that I have had the wonderful opportunity of tracing my roots and reconnecting my family around the world, but specifically, I've spoken a lot about my reconnection to Ghana, West Africa. And I spoke about it so much when I started researching my family story. And I started writing a book, a memoir about it. And then I was like, wow, this has to be a movie. So I decided to begin actually doing a documentary. And as I spoke about it to different people, and I went back and forth to Ghana. Other people were interested in experiencing and meeting some of my family there. And so I had the wonderful opportunity of traveling with Bridgette and several other people to Ghana. And I wanted to talk a little bit about your experience joining me on my footsteps to home to Ghana, and just so that people can get a sense for what it might feel like for you to go to West Africa for your first time.
Right.
So
So go
go
ahead.
ahead. What were you going to say? First of all, introduce yourself as a person who has now been to Ghana or has been to Africa.
Okay. Oh gosh, just that fast. Uh, I'm having a brain freeze, but I think my name is Ajua, I believe it
Oh,
was.
excellent. Yes,
That's my
yes.
day name.
I love that.
Since I was born on a Monday, if I thought about it, I probably would have had my bracelet on.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
But yeah, so that is definitely my day name. And then one other thing that you said before that I wanted to bring back up. So you were saying maybe I have some Ghanaian roots in me.
Yeah.
And so I did a DNA test back in 2017, and I did find out that I was 36% Ivory and Coast Ghana.
Hmm.
Ivory Coast and Ghana.
Yes,
So yeah, there's a little bit of something
a
in
little
me.
bit. That's like one third of your DNA
Yeah,
that comes up.
yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
so definitely. And it's so interesting because my cousin always talks about he can definitely see similarities between the two cultures. So anyways, that's one little fun fact. So yeah, I'm definitely a Ghanaian at
So
this particular
let's
point in
pause for
time.
a second. Let's
Yeah.
pause for a second because Um, I want to talk a little bit about the different types of DNA tests that you can take. So
Okay.
there are the DNA test that I took and that Bridget is talking about is the one where you actually use your sample of your saliva and you send that off to the company, and then they whoever else that comes up as having similar DNA to you, you match with them. So that's one way you can match with people and you know that they literally have the same DNA as you. Another way that the company shares with you about your DNA is that your DNA can connect back to this part of Africa. Now, the difference with my footsteps to home are that I actually have connected with my family that with DNA connection to Ghana, and so we've reconnected like blood relatives.
Mm-hmm.
The interesting thing is my DNA says like 3% Ghana.
Mm,
But I've not only connected with the person that the family that I introduced you to, Bridget, I've
yeah.
also connected with another whole other person and set of family that is from another part of Ghana. So I feel like I'm more than 3%. Um,
For sure.
Yes, the chief told me I must say Mefiri Asamankese. I am from Asamankese, Ghana. That's where my people are from. And
Yes.
so, Bridget, and so my day name is Efia, and that means a girl born on a Friday. So thank you for remembering that
Yeah.
and bringing that up.
Hmm.
So before you went to Ghana, now that a lot of people desire to go to Africa, they call it the motherland. And
Hmm.
what were you hoping to experience before you actually traveled?
I kind of don't know what I was expecting. I just knew I wanted to go back to the motherland, the land from which my people came from. And I guess I felt that I was going to have a sense of connection, and I did. So once I actually got there, there was a sense of connection. In regards to the people, I was incredibly impressed with the people, their love for themselves, as well as their pride in their culture, in their land, as well as in their people. There was a level of strength there that I hadn't seen before. So that was a wonderful thing to take on, and to be able to experience. So to not have any expectations and then, all the things that happen along the way. It was a great experience. I'm forever grateful. Even to this day, I'm still forever grateful for the things that we sometimes take for granted, how we live on a day-to-day basis. We take that for granted in so many different ways. But I'm forever grateful because of my experience with going to Ghana. But definitely, I had an appreciation and a sense of pride for my people, not just the people who came to America, but also the people who stayed, because of their strength and their love for themselves. It was pretty incredible to experience.
Hmm. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Was there a moment during the trip that changed your perspective about Africa or even Ghana?
Hmm. I don't know. I think what people would want you to believe is that everybody in Africa is living in huts. Um, and that is so not the truth. Um, and so there was everything that you see here is there as well. So, the big buildings, the apartments, the houses, there were of course differences. But there, it was people had cell phones. Like, sometimes people have these interpretations or thoughts of what they feel something is, and it was not that at all. They are definitely with the times for sure.
Yeah, and so I love that you shared that because I remember that on one of the evenings, you and your mom went along with me to one of the very traditional areas of Asamankese. And, we got in a project, as they call it, and journeyed over there, and which was very brave of you because, some parts are, we, in the United States, it would be, even we would consider it beyond rural. It's still developing,
Right,
right?
right,
And so there are places from that to very like skyscraper type buildings to modern hotels to not modern hotels, right? So,
right.
um, yeah, it was a very unique experience. So I'm very glad to have had the opportunity for you to join me in Asamankasi and for your mom also. And I'm wondering if when you were there, when you were just talking, I thought about some connections between the Gullah Geechee and what I experienced with you when I visited your home,
Mhm.
and when we went to some festivals, and I visited your cousin's museum at Hilton Head. I'm wondering, though, from your perspective, did you see any connections between Ghanaian culture or West African culture and Gullah Geechee culture?
I guess the first thing that I think about is uh in regards to culture here in the African American community as well as in Ghanaian, food is a big portion of that,
Mhm.
right? Rice is a big portion of that for us. Like, I've heard people say when it comes to like Gullah Geechee people, like you every meal is rice. Like every
Mhm.
meal is rice.
Mhm.
And so there are some similarities, I would say, because rice, we ate rice probably at every meal. So definitely that was one similarity that I thought about. I guess family community, family connection would be another one. It was like a whole big event, you know.
Mhm.
I feel like sometimes my family, I tell my cousin all the time, team too much or team extra. And so I could see that, like, having a whole drum beat just from somebody just walking in, like that's a whole thing, right? And so the whole sense of celebrating
Mhm.
and I guess kind of hyping each other up, so to
Mhm.
speak, and dancing and music and just all of those things. I definitely can see similarities between the two.
Yes. As you were talking, I thought about one of the traditions in the Akan culture where the uncle, well, they, first of all, they don't have the word cousin in the Twi language.
Yeah,
There
I
is no
remember you
word
saying
cousin.
that.
So the children of your sibling are your children.
Right.
And it's the same in other African cultures as well. And I think about that when I think about how close you are to your cousins.
Mhm.
I call one of my first cousins, we call ourselves sister cousins. And I did not know that that was part of African culture until I went there. Literally, the uncle is responsible for the children, and it's
Oh,
not considered uncle and aunt. It's really, these are my children.
right.
One of the
Wow.
beautiful things I found with my cousin, Dr. Yao Asari Abawaji, is the wonderful way that he has taken the lead in caring for and being supportive of his, what we would call nieces and nephews, but what in our Akan or Achim culture is actually his children.
Wow.
So,
That makes
mhm,
sense. And I can definitely, that's a great observation and I never thought about it. But
mhm,
for sure, that is definitely a big connection between the two cultures. My mom and my mom grew up kind of like how I grew up. My first cousins were like, these are your first friends, literally.
mhm,
These are the people that you grew up with. We grew up, I wouldn't say like siblings because we were in different cities.
mhm,
Many of us now, the cousins that I was in the same city with, we were definitely like sisters.
mhm, mhm,
But definitely, it was just kind of like one and the same, and we all took care of each other and we all did for each other. So
mhm.
definitely never thought about that. So me and my cousin, we would say, this is my cousin sister friend.
Yes, yes,
Because it's
exactly.
all of the above in one. So definitely I can definitely see the connection and just the fact in regards to thinking about even in regards like I was saying before, my mom with her first cousins, they were the same
Mhm.
way. They still are the same way.
Yeah.
So definitely there is a connection and my family did a very good job of making sure that we were connected. Like one of the things that my granddad said, I've never met my granddad. I
Mm.
actually was born a week after, well, 2 weeks
Mm.
after he had passed. And so I live through stories. I live, with him. And so one of the things that has always been a thing that we would say is that my granddad would say, wherever you go, find your family.
Mm.
So, some of my cousins, they are definitely good at that. Like wherever they go, they make sure, like if they know somebody there, if there's a connection there, they're going to reach out.
I
And
love that.
so that's definitely something that we continue to pass on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Find your family. Yeah. And that's what Footsteps to Home is about. So I love
Yeah.
that connection. And it's funny, I can't leave without saying this, how you and I found each other here in North Carolina. Like I'm not from North Carolina, you're not from North Carolina, but we found each other here. And I always
Right.
say, look, I always say Bridget's my cousin. We just don't know how.
Right.
We don't know
For
how,
sure.
but it could be from Ghana. It
Yeah.
could be from Ghana, going back to Ghana. But my dad is from Jamaica.
Hmm.
And what was amazing to me is that when I went to visit your family in Hilton Head, and I heard some of the Gullah Geechee terms, and I saw the poem up on your cousin Margaret's
Wow.
wall of her
Hmm.
home, it was some of the terms were familiar to me. And so
Mm.
there's something there
Yeah.
about, patois in Jamaica, and then I don't know if you call it patois with Gullah Geechee, but the Gullah Geechee language as well. So
Hmm.
there's some similarities there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So in part one of our conversation, we spoke a little bit. You mentioned the word resilience, right?
Mm.
The transatlantic slave trade forced resilience upon our people, right? So we come from a strong line of people who are survivors, people who are
Absolutely.
thrivers, and
Yes.
people who are resilient. It's literally built into our DNA.
Hmm.
And so when we talk about DNA and we talk about our history, it's with sometimes with this, it's with a sense of there's no way to over tell how important it is, the history that we came from. And
Right.
when we went back to Ghana, you mentioned previously that there were some things that we take for granted as Americans, right? Simple things. And sometimes we idolize going back to Africa. And even some people, it could be an extreme. Some people say,
Right.
oh, it's like living in huts. The other people are like, oh, I can't wait. I'm going to kiss the ground when I go there. Everything's going to be
Hmm.
wonderful. So, so there's a lot of things that happened, a lot of challenges that happened when we went to Ghana. Um, you can share something or whatever you want to share about that. What did those experiences teach you?
Um, for sure, gratitude. That's
Mhm.
first and foremost. I was definitely grateful when I got home. But also just grateful for the experience. Because of course, those types of challenges kind of build you up and they make you a better person in the process. So for that, I was grateful. It also taught me patience. And also in finding your peace, even when things are kind of going a little bit haywire around you, figuring out what that peace looks like or focusing on what that peace is. So I think those were some of the things that it taught me. I guess thinking about, I guess the first thing that I thought about was not necessarily the experiences in regards to like the things happen because there were several things that happened. I had my true Ghanaian experience. I experienced a blackout.
When the
We
lights
had
went out, the
the
power went
lights
out.
went
Yeah.
out, the power went out. So that was definitely something that was different to me. We had some bus troubles somewhere along the way. But one thing that stands out to me when you were talking, the thing that I thought about, I was literally sick the whole trip.
Oh gosh. And what do you think? Was it the difference in the food? Was it the spiciness? Like, what do you think it may have been?
I truly do not know. I don't necessarily, I wouldn't attribute it to food per se, but
Mhm.
there was just something that was different. And it was funny because maybe like the day before was when things kind of settled down for me. But like
Mhm.
most of the trip I was not okay. But I persevered. I made my way through. I
You
still
did
had
more than make your way through. You were a trooper.
definitely a trooper. But yeah, I learned some things about myself even in the process of that, even in regards to my resilience that I have. And so, of course, because of those types of things, it makes you even the more grateful when you had to do it. Now, I was able to conquer it. I was prepared. I had medicine, that sort of thing. But people were very gracious along the way. But also it was also telling even in regards to me listening to my body and listening to myself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think as we is there anything what stands out to you about the trip to Ghana that is like a memorable part to you that you want others to recognize as they think about going to West Africa, either Ghana or another similar country?
Um, so when we went to the museum, the Diaspora Museum, that was a very enlightening and cool experience because I've heard of the word diaspora, but I never really knew what all that meant. And the fact that they made space for us, I think that was so incredible to me.
Mhm.
Even now that, they made space for us, that they were considering us.
Yeah.
And it was a very welcoming feel just being there. Everybody was so welcoming. Like you hear these stories about, and again, this was in Ghana. I don't know about any other country, but in the areas that the people were so nice, like
Mhm.
so appreciative, so
Yeah.
welcoming. I could definitely feel the whole welcome home type of a vibe, from the different
Baklava.
people. Aquaba, yes. So that was definitely an incredible experience and great that I'm forever grateful for, and even connections that I have even to this day with some of the people that I met while I was there. So that was a great experience. And then this is kind of a fun experience. So I guess maybe at some point I might be giving a little bit of a secret, but we had to ride on those what was it called? The
Uh,
little
Praja.
Praja,
Praja.
yes. So we got to ride on a Praja and it was like a bunch of us like going back
Mhm.
and forth, through the town. It was such a cool experience.
Yes, that was nice.
Kind of felt celebratory, so to speak, but that was like one of my fond memories.
Yes,
And I look back at pictures from that particular moment and that was pretty cool experience.
yes, and
Yeah.
Asamankese, yeah. So
Yes.
that was like a dream that I had, a vision. So it was beautiful to see how it actually came to be.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. That was
yes,
cool.
that was a fun thing.
Yeah.
So the last question I'd like to ask you is, what does home mean to you today?
So I would say that home means to me, it's a grounding, it's a settling,
Mm.
it's a place of peace. Um, it's a it's community, it's the people that you love, it is love. So I would say that home is all of those things wrapped up into
Mhm.
one. Um, which is why there's a serenity that's there. There's a peace that is there just from being home.
Oh, yes. And so I encourage everyone to find your own footsteps to home. You
Right?
can continue to follow Footsteps to Home, this channel, like and subscribe to this channel as I speak to other folks about what does that mean for them to take footsteps to home. And I'm confident, Bridgette, that our conversations will inspire others to explore their family stories, which is what you has been important to both of us before we
Yeah,
ever thought about Footsteps to Home or Journey Home.
right.
Family has been important to us, stories have been important to us, and even introducing them to your wonderful book.
Yeah.
We're celebrating your book launch, and say one more time how people can get your book, Journey Home.
So Journey Home can be purchased on Amazon. So you can go to Amazon and purchase your book there. Um, it will be live as of July the 24th.
All right. Thanks so much, everyone. Again, like and subscribe to follow more about or comment below. What have you
Yeah.
learned about your own footsteps to home as a
Oh,
part of your family story? Take care, everybody. See you
thank
next
you.
time.
Good night. Thank you for having me.